Now let's talk in a greater level of detail about SAP Business by Design and what the solution is all about. This visual summarizes the key capabilities of Business by Design. It's an integrated cloud with all of the key capabilities that you would expect, ranging from financials, human resource management, project management, purchasing, and obviously supply chain management, as well as CRM, plus the capability to extend the solution. There are two schools of thought in the market on how you would build such a suite. The first school of thought is to say, and that school of thought is specifically prominent with our large customers, who say, you know what, I take the best possible line of business solutions that I can find in the market, I integrate all of them, and then I have the perfect solution. That is exactly also what SAP S/4HANA, private cloud, public cloud, offers to our customers. You take for human resource management success factors, you take for all of the purchasing, both operational and strategic Ariba. You use Concur for travel and expense management. You use SAP Analytics Cloud for certain analytical scenarios, and so on and so on. That is the one school of thought, but obviously it requires a company which knows what it's doing. When I would present that concept to my mid-market customers, they would find that fairly confusing. They would say, yeah, I like the basic idea, but what do you mean by interface? So for mid-market companies, I rather need something which we call a suite in a box. So think of instant coffee or think of an espresso capsule. You put it in, you press the button, and the result that you get is ready to use. That is what the mid-market companies need. Also, and I've talked about that in a great length, they find it very difficult to have these IT experts. And I also ran into quite a few CEOs of mid-sized companies who said, I don't want these IT experts in my company. They cost a lot of money. I don't know exactly what they are doing. I rather consume it as a service. That is why we said for the mid-market, a suite in the box is exactly the right thing to have. If we go through some of the capabilities, the suite in a box, and you first saw the visualization of the key components, but what matters more to my customers are the 36 built-in end-to-end business processes. And a little later you will see from my colleague Christoph Schneider how these end-to-end processes look like, and he will demo to you a complete end-to-end flow. Because for the companies, their problems don't start and end, let's say, in customer relationship management. They have an order-to-cash challenge. They want to make sure that whenever they ship a good to a customer, that immediately the invoice also goes to the customer as soon as they know that the customer has received it, and that the payment happens automatically. So the companies think in end-to-end processes, and they don't think in silos. And that is very key for the suite in the box approach. It needs to be quickly configurable. I talked about the need to adjust business processes as they change. And to do that without the help of external consultants, and it must be easy to use, therefore an HTML5 user interface, which I will show you in a minute. The second dimension is insightful. To give you one example, I recently met the chief financial officer of one of our large customers in Latin America, a company called Galpa. They are one of the market leaders in the wholesale area for air conditioning equipment. And the CFO told me, he said, Rainer, there are so many people coming into my office saying, hey, we should do more with this and this customer. We should invest more in this and this product, or we should do more in this and this region. And he says, in the past, he said, well, I'm sure they know what they are doing. Come on, let's invest. He says, now that they are live with ByDesign for quite a while, he says, he brings up the profitability analysis by customer, by product, by region. And he says, then you have a fact-based decision. And he says, one of the great contributions that he can bring to the table when they have a board meeting is that he can say, look, these are the most profitable customers. These are the most profitable products. These are the most profitable regions. And he said they managed to do the transition from a not so well educated decision to really smart decision making. And that is what insightfulness is all about. We deliver lots of KPIs, standard reports, and whatsoever. And we made sure that the companies can define their own KPIs, their own reports, because every company has different requirements, and you will see a lot of additional capabilities specifically in the area of dashboarding. Built for growth, Business by Design is a global solution. It is used today, the last time I checked, in 128 countries around the globe. And don't believe that mid-market companies are local. Mid-market companies are as global as the large multinationals. They are truly champions in certain niches that they work. And they serve many countries. When we first started with Business by Design, we discussed with the first customers, hey, how about us only providing Business by Design in 6 countries? The reaction was, well, if you only support 6 countries, sorry, you're irrelevant. So then what we did was a network analysis that we asked, for example, let's take an American company. Where do you have your subsidiaries? And then you find out very fast they have their subsidiaries or their key subsidiaries in Canada, Mexico, and other Latin American countries. For a European country, maybe headquartered in Germany, for sure they will have a subsidiary in France. They will do something in Italy. For sure they will leverage Poland. They will do certain things in Romania. So therefore, Business by Design is a global solution with a global reach, and that is very important for my customers. Business by Design has no built-in user limits. So you can run it from 20 users, I say here, to 10,000. My largest customer at the moment has 8,750 users on a single tenant. It's built on the same NetWeaver architecture like the other SAP solutions. When you ask me, where does ByDesign fit specifically well, I always say it fits for the mid-market companies. And that is something between 50 and 500 users. And it is not the users, it is typically in that segment. I know that the 36 business processes that we are bringing to the table mostly meets the requirements of the companies. When I go significantly above that barrier, then I run into companies who say, hey, Rainer, I like Business by Design, but I need a full-blown global risk and compliance management solution. I need an advanced planning capability. I need certain other export regulation capabilities that I don't have built in Business by Design. Therefore, Business by Design is targeted towards one specific market segment, and for other segments, we have other solutions. Next topic is continuous innovation. When you buy or when you subscribe to a cloud solution, you also implicitly hand over the responsibility to drive innovation, at least in those areas, to the company who you're working with, in our case specifically to SAP. My customers find it very important and very comforting to know that I have complete teams working on IoT scenarios, working on machine learning scenarios, thinking about blockchain, and coming up with ideas how to do big data scenarios. Not that everybody needs it at the moment, but they find it important to know that we have the concepts available, and when they want to start with their first IoT concepts, that they find counterparts in the ecosystem and in SAP who say, you want to do this and this? Let me show you how this can be done. So therefore also we will keep the pace to ship quarterly and provide the new capabilities because, as I said, the innovation speed is high, and specifically the mid-market is at the forefront of these kind of innovations. ByDesign is used today by 4,000 companies. Let me also tell you how I count. These are more than 4,000 companies with own profit and loss and balance sheet statements. So I'm not counting terminated contracts, university alliances, licenses, or partner licenses. That number is most likely a bit too conservative. but also when I work with analysts, that's roughly the number that I give them. It's used in 27 industries. That doesn't mean that ByDesign is adjusted for specific industries. We have a dedicated ByDesign version for the professional service provider industry. We've just announced a dedicated ByDesign version for the public sector. For the other areas, ByDesign is more a kind of a horizontal solution. And I always tell the story, I found out recently that the Stuttgart Stock Exchange is using Business ByDesign. And the financials market is a highly regulated market in Europe. So Stuttgart isn't too far away. So on my next trip to Stuttgart, I met with a customer and they said, look, relax. Even a stock exchange, first of all, is a normal company. We need a financial management system. We need to purchase certain goods. We need to pay the salaries. We need a human resource management system. So yes, for trading, we have a dedicated platform which is not SAP Business ByDesign. But first of all, a bank or a stock exchange is a normal company. And they said, for us, ByDesign works perfect. We love it. So therefore, that explains a little bit why we are busy today in so many different industries. If I stack rank the number of customers by industry, I have my largest installed base in the professional services industry, discrete manufacturing, wholesale and distribution, and I don't yet have, or it is, if I would sort it by contract value, it's already at the second rank. Public sector and higher education, specifically in North America, is a super important market for us. That's also why we are building out industry-specific capabilities. How does Business ByDesign fit into the entire portfolio? If you think back to the beginning of this video where I talked about the four aspects or the 2x2 matrix, what is your preference regarding how you want to license or subscribe, and do you want to operate it on your own, yes or no? Then you can look at this pyramid now. On the left side, you have the on-premise solutions. On the right side, you have the cloud solutions. If I focus here on the right side, our flagship product, S/4HANA, public cloud, private cloud at the top end in the cloud editions, geared towards the need of the large enterprises and the upper mid-market companies. The segment below Business ByDesign and below Business ByDesign, we have our super successful SAP Business One, both in the on-premise edition as well as in the cloud edition, either operated by SAP or by our partners. Companies ask, why do you need so many products? Simply, there is no one size fits all. And I always say, think of the following example: as desirable as it would be that we all drive Mercedes S-Class as company cars, it's unfortunately commercially not viable. Therefore, Mercedes offers an S-Class, think S4. Mercedes offers an E-Class, think Business ByDesign. Mercedes offers a C-Class, think Business One. I think that explains it quite nicely, and that is the reason why SAP, with this portfolio, can serve the entire market.